And now, Death Valley Days. Howdy, folks. I'm the old ranger, and I have another interesting true story for you about the historic Death Valley country. Millions of words have been written about Sam Houston, the hero of Texas, of his early brilliant career as the governor of Tennessee, of his strange self-imposed exile among the Indians after the disappointment of his first marriage, and of how he avenged the massacre of the Alamo and defeated the Mexican general Santa Anna at the historic Battle of San Jacinto. But to me, the most fascinating angle of his spectacular career is the part played in it by lovely Margaret Lee. I call this story The Girl Who Walked with a Giant. It begins on that Sunday afternoon in May 1836, when the crowds rushed down to the levee in New Orleans to do honor to Sam Houston, fresh from his victory at San Jacinto. In the crowd come to do honor to Sam Houston are his old army mate, William Christie, the widow, Nancy Lee, and her daughters, Emily and Margaret. Margaret Lee is 17, tall, violet-eyed, a halo of curls above her wide, intelligent brow.
Tie out that line. Take up the slack. Stay back.
What's wrong with General Houston? Is he wounded?
Yes. His ankle was shattered at San Jacinto. The doctor who brought him aboard was afraid of lockjaw, and we've been a week making port on account of the storm.
I'll get him the finest surgeons in New Orleans.
I'm afraid it's too late, sir.
Margaret, the captain thinks he's gonna die.
Can't. He just can't.
Come on, fellas, help me get him off the ship. Sam, it's William Christie. I'm going to take you home and get you a doctor.
I'll get up by myself.
No, dear, they'll take him to the doctor.
They can't let him die. Not such a great hero. They've got to heal him.
Three years later, in the early summer of 1839, Margaret Lee saw Sam Houston for the second time in her life. It was at the stately home outside Mobile, Alabama, where her sister Emily, now Mrs. William Bledsoe, was entertaining with an elegant soiree called the Strawberry Festival.
My husband has never brought me a more wonderful surprise. How is it that Alabama is honored with your presence, General Houston? Or should I say President Houston?
No longer president, Mrs. Bledsoe, but just a private citizen who's come here to interest your husband in the investment potentialities of the Republic of Texas.
Margaret, we have a very distinguished guest I want you to meet. General Houston, this is my sister, Miss Margaret Lee.
I'm charmed.
Margaret, why don't you introduce the General to some of the other guests?
I'd be delighted.
Must we?
No, not if you don't want to.
I'd rather concentrate on you. It isn't often that a business conference has such an enchanting climax.
I hear this is a strawberry festival, and I haven't even offered you one.
I've never seen anything so beautiful.
They are lovely berries, aren't they?
I was speaking of your face.
I'm glad you like my face. Because I've liked yours from the first moment I saw it.
When did you ever see my face?
3 years ago, when you were lying unconscious on the deck of a schooner. You don't know anything about me, but I know a lot about you.
Shall we sit down and you tell me what you know?
Well, I know they removed 20 pieces of bone from your wound that day, and that you got well and went back to Texas and became president of the Lone Star Republic.
And what else?
You lifted that wild frontier country up out of chaos and made it into a sound, respected nation. I know all the wonderful things you've done for Texas. But now I'd like to know what you're going to do for you.
I hope to fulfill a long-lost dream.
What is it?
Perhaps soon there'll be a time when I can tell you.
Yes, Mother. Come in.
Margaret, it seems to me you spend too much time in your room. Writing to the General again? After I asked you not to?
We may as well have this thing out now. He wants me to come to Texas to marry him.
I won't hear of it.
He suggests we have the ceremony in Texas when you and Emily and William come out for your business trip.
I shall never give my consent to it.
I shall never marry anyone else.
You mean that, don't you?
Yes, Mother. I mean it.
Very well. But the wedding must be here, in your own home, with our own minister officiating.
Oh, Mother.
Saying, I share your anxiety, Dr. Smith.
There's no doubt about it, Chief. You picked the ideal First Lady.
First Lady? Sam, is that what you two were talking about? You're not going to run for president of Texas again.
It isn't anything that I want, sweetheart.
Texas needs him, ma'am. The last administration has ruined the Republic. Our credit is gone.
Well, then let someone else reclaim it. If you go back into the president's office, the whole world will crowd in on us. The hate of your enemies will poison the air we breathe. Oh, Sam, all the happy life we planned together will be sacrificed.
Mrs. Houston, I know the power you have over the chief. Do not, I beg you, use it against the Republic.
Margaret and I will talk it over and let you know my decision.
Goodbye, Chief. Goodbye, Mrs. Houston. Remember, without Sam Houston, Texas is lost.
Goodbye, Doctor. Come again.
Thank you.
I've been haunted for months, Mother. Ever since Sam took office as president of the Texas Republic.
What is it you fear?
Assassins.
Assassins? But the place is well guarded, isn't it?
But it isn't. Sam refuses to have a guard posted.
What is this? A council of war?
You've guessed it. I'm tired of playing second fiddle to Texas. For just 1 hour, I want to be your #1 girl.
I think that can be arranged. Yeah, what have you to offer?
I can give you a piano concert.
I'd like that. It might ease the tension.
And I'll go and prepare a light repast.
Sam, do sit down. And stay away from that window.
I'm too restless to sit down.
What are you working on tonight?
I'm trying to keep Texas from erupting into violence while I work for annexation to the United States.
Can you do it? And stay alive?
Don't worry about me, sweetheart.
How can I help it? The Mexicans are hysterical for vengeance after the Santa Fe expedition. Some madman will... Sam.
I heard a shot.
Someone tried to kill Sam.
Assassins?
Now, forget it. You have to expect things like this when you're in politics. The fellow was a crank.
Well, there's got to be an end to it. Because if there isn't, then let Texas go her headlong way. Let her people fight and die if they insist.
Margaret, this is not the talk of my courageous wife.
Well, things are different now. There's only one thing that's important to me. When our baby is born, I want you here by my side.
Margaret.
Are you glad, Sam?
Glad? Nothing in the world could make me happier. I've waited all my life for a son.
And if it's a girl?
It'll be a boy. Has to be. Name of Sam.
Those papers came by post from the East this morning.
Weeks old, all of them. Now look at this. Polk, slavery in Texas. Clay, Union, and liberty. Why did the United States have to drag the Texas Annexation Treaty into its political campaign and then mix in the question of slavery?
Well, Polk was nominated. Perhaps that means victory for your annexation plan.
But why doesn't the Senate act? Can't they see how important Texas is to the United States?
But the whole weight of the abolitionists is against us.
Everything I've worked for in this term of office hangs on getting that treaty ratified.
Not everything, Sam. You've kept us out of war with Mexico, and you've made peace with the Indians, and you've made Texas sound. These are immense accomplishments, even without the treaty.
But why can't we get some word from Washington? I can't stand this suspense much longer.
Then let me bring in our son and relax a little. Young Sam has been asking for you.
Fine. Fine. Bring him in. So, my son has been asking for me, huh? I tell you what, Junior. If I can't fix it so you can be a citizen of the United States, I'll build Texas into such a nation that it extends from the Gulf of Mexico to the Pacific, and from Oregon to the halls of Montezuma.
Excuse me, Mr. President.
Oh, come in, Collins.
I have an urgent message, sir.
From Washington?
Yes, sir.
Well, what is it? What does it say?
The United States Senate has rejected the treaty with Texas.
Well, that's that. I shall retire from public life. And I'll build that Texas plantation house for you that I've been promising down in Huntsville. I'll call it Raven Hill.
in the garden. You have news.
It's a letter from Andrew Jackson, my old chief. He says Congress has passed a resolution asking for the annexation of Texas.
Oh, Sam, at long last. I hope it isn't too late.
Now, Texas may do the rejecting this time. With France and England both working to secure us a treaty of independence from Mexico, we'll be strong enough to go it alone.
You worked so hard for annexation to the United States. You wouldn't let pride overcome your good judgment now.
Andrew Jackson is dying. He asked me as a last favor to him not to oppose annexation.
If you don't oppose it, Texas will accept.
I know.
You've already come to a decision, haven't you?
I have. For the sake of Texas as well as for my old friend, I'll give my hearty cooperation to annexation.
Darling. Such fun having you here, Mother. It gets lonesome with Sam way off there in Washington.
Lonesome with those two obstreperous children and another one on the way?
As much as I love my children, Mother, they are not as yet intellectual companions. I can't describe to you what it has meant to me in growth of mind, to enjoy the broad view of things I share with Sam. He is a Titan in every sense of the word.
And you are a fit wife to a Titan. Sam has fulfilled your every expectation as a husband?
In all ways but one. I could wish that he would join the church. Perhaps someday he will.
My dear love, tomorrow is our communion day, and if the Lord spares me, I expect to attend and partake of the sacrament of the Lord's Supper.
Sam, my beloved, I've prayed for this day.
Well, Senator Houston, I hear you were baptized and all your sins were washed away.
I hope so, Dominie, but if they were all washed away, Lord help the fishes down below.
Gentlemen, Sam Houston, Governor of Texas.
Listen to that mob, rejoicing because Texas has joined the Confederacy. Now they'll have to reap the harvest of bloodshed and ruin. I did my best to prevent it, but I failed.
It's Texas that's failed, not you. For more than 20 years, you've given her all your strength and your wisdom, and her people have now repudiated you.
Now they command me, her governor, to take an oath of allegiance to the Confederacy, or else resign my high office.
Dearest, I hate to add to your burdens, but our son, Sam Jr., is enlisted in the Confederate Army, in Dr. Ashbel Smith's company.
Don't cry, my darling. He has to decide such things for himself. And I must decide for myself. I must make my decision tonight.
I'll see that no one disturbs you. Dearest, my love and my prayers are with you.
To my fellow citizens, I refuse to take this oath. Oh, God help me. I don't know. I don't know. To my fellow citizens, in the name of our rights and liberties, which I believe have been trampled on, I refuse to take this oath. In the name of my own conscience and my own manhood, I refuse to take this oath.
My dear, you've been up all night.
I'll never do it, Margaret. I can't go back on the Union.
I'm glad you made the right decision.
It'll mean another upheaval for you. We'll have to move out of this executive mansion.
And go home to Raven Hill. I'll start packing this morning. But first, let's watch the sunrise. The city is lovely in this morning light.
I wonder what the people in those houses, in all the houses of Texas, will say of Sam Houston today.
I don't know what they'll say today. But I can tell you what the people of Texas will say 100 years from now. They'll say no one ever loved Texas so deeply, or gave so unselfishly of his spirit and his strength in her service.
I would have given up long ago, Margaret, if it hadn't been for you. Only your love and your presence have given me the strength and the faith to go on serving. It's you who are wonderful, my beloved.
No. I'm just a girl who was privileged to walk with a giant.
And that's the story of Margaret Lee Houston, whose love and devotion and high ideals brought to fulfillment Sam Houston's great potential. The first Lady of Texas.